minutes, a couple seconds ago, and obviously I had got one of the colorist names wrong, which one of the biggest colorists that was around, that was doing coloring for a few of the major Phantom like character, a few of the major characters that were, I guess, done by King Features Syndicate. He obviously passed away in the last couple of days, age 97, and his name is called Gene Dilangelo. Um, he did like coloring for the Phantom, Mandrake, Flash Gordon, and etc. And I'd just like to give out my um, I'd just like to give out my sincere sort of thank you for what you've done for the community. Thank you for coloring the Phantom and other characters, and we'll get into what we've been talking about today. So, as I said, we were going to be talking about the Collector's Replica Series number 28, which is issue 1897, and 29 issue number of the 29 Collector's Replica Series number 29. Issue number for that one is number 1904. Most of the, I think every 10 issues they have a different sort of cover, and for all those 10 issues in, I guess, from I think issue 21 to, uh, just for example, 21 to 30, we have the same cover through all those books, and then from the next 10 we then get a change of cover, and that then stays until the next, 10 issues has been completed. Now, the original issues coming out of number 28 is from the year 1957, number 118, 117, and 116. In number 29, we have same year, 1957, and the issues from that year are 115, 114, and 113. So we're going to be talking about some of these comics. We're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about how much success we've been seeing at Phantom Cave because of the news segments that are coming out every week. I think on Saturday we talked about this comic, which again I will forewarn you if you haven't watched the video. The comic and images itself are very, as the publisher said, very well. The story basically is very unsettling story, as the publisher said in the publisher notes. And if you haven't watched the video, go watch it. It's a short 11-minute, 12-minute review of that comic, and I'd think it'd be pretty good. So let's get into how these news segments have been going, and then we'll get into the comics. So in the last month or so, I've just been trying to basically improve the quality, as many fans may have seen. Most of the quality in the videos has been going up, and that includes the news segment that I do every week, which when I usually comment on what's been happening in the week during to do with Phantom news and a lot of other things. Well, to start off, I've been getting a really good response from the newly sort of news segments, and I'd just like to say thank you for viewing the news segments and supporting the channel. So let's get into some comics, and we'll talk about something else. I can't. So we'll get into talking about the Collector's Replica series number 28, and I hope you have been enjoying this live. And yeah. Number 28, number 29 is coming. Okay. So we've got number 28 here, and we're going to have a look at number 29 soon. So as I said, it's counting down the original issues, 1957, from the year 1957. We've got issue number 118, 117, 116. So the stories in this one, stories in issue 118 is a classic 1938 and 1939 daily story called The Fishes of the Pearls, with art by Ray Moore. The story was first published in number 9 back in 1949. For the first time, the Phantom is referred as the Lord of the Jungle, a title synonymous with the Tarzan of the Apes. For the first time, the Deep Woods is known as the place of the Phantom resides with the pygmy poison people. For the first time, Nelson says he, the Phantom, was a tall fellow, all in grey. In this story, the Phantom almost catches up with Diana. He last saw her when he declared they would get married in the prison of the Himalayas, which, as I said, and as I've already reviewed that book, it's a great story. I enjoyed it when I read the full story. Like, I know a lot of times when, I guess, when publishers, they try and edit the story a little bit, so you possibly won't be getting like the full part of the story. You probably be getting bits and pieces. And I'm guessing this is to do with this one as well, because it's only 100 pages, so it would be edited in some way. So number 117 and 116 have both parts of the 1944/1945 daily story, The Maharaja's Daughter, with art by Wilson McCoy. The story beginning next week in The Maharaja's Daughter is a version of an epic story run for 30 weeks in the daily newspapers. The new art in the complete version of story, Frew number 1203, is wonderful to behold. And as a lot of people, if you're not familiar with what Barry Stubberfield writes in the publisher notes for each collector replica series, for each one of these books, he basically writes a lot of in-depth stuff. When you actually read the publisher notes, he writes a lot of in-depth stuff about what the story's about, when it was published, when it was made, and who the artist and obviously the author was, which, as we all know, is originally Leaf Hulk. So we've got the retro cover of number 118. As you can see for the last couple of issues. I think since I guess we hit near issue 20s, you can see in the corner, if you can see it, you can see in the corner that that corner's actually got the word replica. So in that terms, the replica usage of the word replica in these books is because some people like to basically say, oh, this comic is our original comic, so they'll try and get a little bit more money for it when actually it's a replica. So when a person tries to buy that certain issue and they've just cut off the top part of it, so that then means that if it's cut off, it's not that the person that actually is buying it won't suspect that it's actually a replica. So just to point that out, back in those days, or back a couple of months ago, we had Frew number 1898 was coming out on the 29th of July 2021. As I said, the stories of Fishes of the Pearls. Great art, as we all like to call it. I think, yeah, this one's done by this one's done by Ray. I think Ray Moore. Yeah, Ray Moore. Yeah, and so Ray Moore, I saw like an image of someone's Instagram page, a week or two ago, and what I didn't know about this was that Ray Moore, he actually had, like, he's got like a sort of a forest named after him, which I think is in America or it's in Sweden somewhere. So he's basically got a forest dedicated to him. And one of the images that was on it is obviously it's a forest, but one of the images that was on it was actually a seat dedicated to Ray Moore's wife. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. I think I've actually got the full story of the Fishes of the Pearls somewhere in the collection. We're pretty much running out of space in the collection on the bookshelf. Pretty much. Look at that retro art. So cool. Now, as a lot of Australian fans would say, including Nick Moles, I used to read these collectible replica series books, but I just don't find time to read the big ones anymore. Like I'll read like the smaller ones, like the 36-page ones, or I'll read the giant size ones because they're actually new stuff. But like this comic, like Nick Mole said on Facebook, this comic and the stories with contain it are just like, it's just a reprint basically. It's just a reprint that just, I don't know, put it on a bookshelf. You put it in bag and board and put it in your collection. And if you've already read it, well, there's pretty sure you don't really need to read it again. So, or if you do want to read it, well, you can, and you can always go back to it and all that sort of stuff. So yeah. Look, the old ads. I used to look at these old ads and say, oh, they look so cool. Yeah, enough of looking at the ads, advertisements these days. So we have the Phantom 117 original cover. And again, with all these issues in this book, the old ones, they again will have the word replica on the top right hand corner. So cool. I think, yeah, this one's Maharaja's daughter. Which, yeah, I think it might have been 2017 and the 2016 Phantom Annual. That story got published with annuals that were coming out, I think, in 2016 and 2017. I obviously have both of those annuals, and they're so great. They're so good. The 2016, no. The 2016, yes, the cover of that book was done by Antonio Lemos. He's, as you would know, he's one of my favorite artists, and the cover for the 2017 one was it was about a female phantom, and it. I can't remember who did the cover for it, but I have a feeling the cover might have been someone to do with White. It might have been his last name, her last name, I think. Can't really remember it, but a great cover, great book, and great additions that we saw in it. Again, we see another advertisement for Sir Falcon, and again, because this publication or this issue was first published, I guess, in the 1957, that would still mean that there could be still Sir Falcon issues coming out at that time and that in that era. So yeah, and plus Sir Falcon, you'd know because Sir Falcon, the Shadow, Catman, um, and all those other characters, they were first, I think, introduced either in the giant size Phantom comics or the their old issues, the characters standalone issues, um, which is pretty cool. But yeah, you got one of the things you got to watch out for these issues is when few publications print like parts, sometimes you'll have, say, like part two at like with this is especially the case because this is a part story. You would have part two on, say, issue 117, and then you'd have the first part, which they actually point out in the publisher notes. You'd have the first part going at 116, which then means that you have to read. Obviously, you'd have to read 116 before you read 117. So some people, including me, we got a bit confused about, I don't know, the publishing on how they would publish their parts. And like I was saying earlier in the live stream, I did a small interview with Bill Reinhold, who was the inker that did the Phantom 2040 miniseries. And I was actually talking to him today, and he's a great person. Like, I was talking to him through, obviously, Messenger, and if you didn't know that the Phantom had a board game, then you can check out the Phantom board game, The Treasures of Dracon, only $135 including postage. I myself have 2 copies, and I myself hasn't played the game yet. And if you would like to try and buy this board game, you can buy it either from Few Publications or on their website at phantomcomic.com.au. How's it going, Whispering Grove? So what I was talking about was that I was talking to Bill Reinhold today. Obviously, he's in Chicago, and I was talking to him today. I better put that comic there. I was talking to him today, and we are just talking about a couple different subjects, and obviously the Phantom came up because obviously I'm a great big fan of the Phantom, and he's a great person. He's a great person to talk to. He's just all around good person. Um, and like I found that when I was doing the news segment and when he sent his clip through, I found that when I first watched it, it was quite interesting. Like for someone to work with Steve Ditko as he did on the Phantom 2040, that must have been a huge experience for that to happen. Yeah, that just was a huge experience. And if that had happened to what a normal creator like what myself, if Steve Ditko was still around, then that would still be a huge experience. Like because if you've got like Steve Ditko, he's the co-creator of Spider-Man, but you wouldn't want to be rude about it, which is what um, Bill actually talks about in the clip. And if you've got like someone that's just created a whole big character called Spider Man and has numerous films directed to him and is owned, you'd guess, by Sony, and is also, I think, published by Marvel and also published by King Features Syndicate, which also has their own part of the Amazing Spider-Man. And it's interesting when you get to talk to these people. It's interesting um, when you get to hear their experiences and what they've actually done in their career and what they've done for the community. So we're going to be talking about Collector's Replica Series number 29, counting down the original issues. In this issue from 1957, the issue numbers are 115, 114, and 113. And as I said earlier in this video, the issue number for this issue is 1904. And this issue came out a couple of weeks ago, so yeah, it's pretty recent. And like as I was saying about how Nick Moles actually says, "Oh yeah, you just put these books in a bag and board and put them in your collection." Yeah, so cool. Um, yeah, yeah, they're nice, but yeah, like I said, if you've got like a person that's already read the stories, um, yeah, it's just that if you've got someone that's already read the stories, um, why do you want to read them again? Or if you've got um, a new person, I always think if you've got like a new person, a new fan that hasn't really known about the Phantom that well recently hasn't really known about the Phantom and doesn't really have a bigger of a collection, I would tend to you tend to go to these stories because what it's one of the parts of the original few issues, but what actually makes it better is that it's actually got daily stories that are from either 1950s, 1940s, 1930s. So I think it's good that if you've got, like, as I said, if you've got like a young person who doesn't have much to do with the Phantom, hasn't heard much of the Phantom, and doesn't know what it's about, then you could recommend these issues because of the stories and because they wouldn't, I don't think, would have much of the collection then. So as I said, issues, I'm just going to say what stories they are. So in issue 115, we have the 1957 daily story Wambo the Gambler with art by Wilson McCoy. In number 114, we have contains the second publication of the 1950 daily story The White Monkey with art by Wilson McCoy. The story was previously published in number 52 back in 1952, which is ironic because it's the same number. The number 115 was published incomplete in number 1297. Number 114 was first fully published complete in number 1354, which these issues are from the June publication era. Number 113 contains the second publication of the 1951 daily story, The Governor's Family, with art by Wilson McCoy. The story was previously published in number 59 back in 1953, which I'm guessing, since the series is still going to go on for a lot longer, we will be seeing that story again because it's obviously been published in 1953. So the Governor's Family was published complete in number 1063. I think that is nearly the 1000th issue. I think that might be nearly the 1000th issue. I think I might have a look at that because I've got 2 copies of the first annual, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think I've got 2 copies of it. Yeah, I've got 1 copy of the second annual as well. Oh, look at that. That's so awesome. I still think look at how good that is. Just like, I'd just like to just point out, like, the shadows, the highlights. Oh, damn it. It's so good. Yeah, it's yeah, you do get, like you said, you do get tired of the reprints sometimes. Sometimes I get tired of the reprints. Like, sometimes when, say, if I haven't even read an old story, I'll like go back and try and find something in the collection, or I'll go back and try and find something that I haven't read in the comic collection for a long, long time ago. New stories are always better. Well. The sequels are pretty damn good. Like, the new sequels that come and prequels that come out with the trade paperbacks, they're awesome. The new one that came out this year, which I think came out last year but is coincided with the Phantom board game, I read, and it's the Red Red Dragon Pirates Saga. It's awesome. It's, I think, 200 pages or something, and it's awesome. It's got a new story done by Wendell Cavalcanti, which is the sequel, and Julie. Let me get her last name right. Julie Dietrich, I think. And also, that trio has a new story coming out soon, which is, I think, the return of the Golden Circle or something like that. Which hopefully it's going to get published soon. Hopefully it gets published next year. Hopefully, because also some of the other news stories that have came out in the past trade paperbacks, well, notably, I think the second trade paperback has three original stories. One of them being the movie Stars, which I think was published in the 1940s or 1950s, and slave, sl- slave. There's a 1960s story, Slave Markets of Muka. That's it. And I can't remember the first story, but I can't remember the first story. I don't even remember the last 2. But if you've actually seen, I'll just take a moment here. But if you've actually seen the latest, like, current Sunday strip that's actually coming out, like Jeff Wilgley, he posts the current ones I think every Sunday, or their time Sunday, on, American time. But one of the parts of the comments that I read today was that Jeff Wilgley, he commented on like a post which was his, but he commented on one of the audiences or commenters' comments, and he was basically saying that he asked Tony D. Paul, who is the writer for the Phantom right now and does the dailies and the Sundays, and is what you'd call one of those people that you'd kind of call it one of those people who, oh, you'd say would have kept it going after Lee Falk's passing, but that's probably controversial in itself. Thinking which publication, which um, high honcho, which comic series actually kept it going after Lee Falk's passing, but that's probably controversial in itself. Um, but what Jeff Wilgley was actually saying was that in the latest current Sunday script, he's actually trying to um, he's actually trying to bring sort of he's actually trying to bring in Bengala tribal what do you call it, tribal sort of indentation. So it actually looks like one of the latest ones. It actually looks like some sort of, it's bright colors, as you would know. The colors have been getting better in each decade since it first been published. But like these colors that have been being put on these the strip, it's so awesome to see these vibrant colors because it brings what you know as a tribal story, and that's what it is. It's a tribal story, and I obviously haven't read the current Sunday yet. I've obviously read trying to stay up to date with the new stuff that's been put out by few publications, which included the Prisoner of the Golden Cage, which we did a review on Saturday, as I said. I also currently right now I'm on the Giant Size Phantom issue 18. There's a new issue from few publications that came out last Thursday. Have to read that. That's about Phantom by that's got a Phantom by Gaslight story in it from the new series. That also has a Phantom Vietnam story, which looks pretty good. And the Phantom Vietnam story has the same author, same artist, Paul Mason. If you understood what I just said. But back to these stories, like, is this still? Yeah, it is. You've got this story being, I guess, Wambo the Gambler. I'm guessing. Yeah, still, we're still at that story. And yeah, like, I'll bring this term up. I'll bring this discussion up. So we're at number 114 now. So I'm going to bring this discussion up about should I do any more community interviews. Now, I don't have any more set in stone right now. Well, one of them isn't really set in stone. It's like a what if thing. And if it will happen, hopefully, I have to contact them after a couple of weeks, and I'm not giving it away anytime soon. But what is your opinion on the community interviews? Would you like to see more next year? And what would you like to see? Who would you like to see me interview next year? Put that in the comment section down below if you have any artists, writers, publishers on who I should interview next. This story. I can't remember whose this story is. I'll have to have a look. come on. On a budget here. Oh, wait. White Monkey, that's what it's called. I should remember that, but I've been talking, 35 minutes, so I really can't remember that much. This looks like Wilson McCoy, I'm guessing. Oh, we've got another issue here somewhere. Oh, man. I've got number 113. Oh, those advertisements these days. Those old ones. Oh. What's this one? I can't remember. Oh, don't worry about it. Oh yeah, governor's story. That's what it's called. It's the governor's one. Yeah, I don't think might have read it at some point. Yeah. Just looking at the artwork, seeing how the artwork's done, how the shadows and the highlights complement each other. So interesting. I think it's interesting anyway. Page 89 of the comic, that means we have like 11 pages left. I'll put it this discussion. So Shakti Comics, they obviously in the last couple of weeks they published their first series of Phantom Mandrake and Flash Gordon. Have you received your Shakti Comics range, and what is your discussion? What is your response on it? And you can put that response down in the comment section down below. Not gonna talk about that because I've already talked about it, and if you wanted to know, you can look at that there, or you can visit their website at phantomcomic.com.au. Okay, we've been live for nearly 40 minutes. That's my back on my wall, no one sees, basically. Let me get my finger right on up. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed that live stream. Get lights on me. Hope you enjoyed that live stream. Hope you enjoyed looking at Collector's Replica series number 29 and 28. We'll be back on the channel very soon as we look. Hang on a second. Let me get those lights right. We will be back on the channel as usual, probably on Friday, I guess. Because I guess when we come back on the channel, so I think on Friday we usually do our news segment. So if you haven't checked out the news segment this week, go check it out. It's got an exclusive talk with Bill Reinhold, exclusive right there. And we usually, as you would know, if you're a full-time supporter of Phantom Cave, you would know that we do videos on Monday, usually on Friday and Saturday, and sometimes we will have like a old time serial come out on Sunday. So catches, stay safe, stay awesome, and we'll keep you posted on the latest, the best Phantom content on the world, and we'll see you next week. Keep Phantom Caving. We'll see you later.